It's hard to imagine that someone so young-looking is actually an assassin who retired years ago. Every day, he just listens to rock music, drinks milk tea, and daydreams. He is the man the entire underworld reveres as the Mechanic. Even in retirement, he never lets his guard down. Every time he heads out, he activates the defense system on his boat to guard against any surprise ambushes. This man, named Jason, frequently visits a bakery at a famous landmark in Brazil to grab a beer and some seafood. He hasn't been sitting for long when a beautiful, seductive woman sits down across from him. To his surprise, the moment she opens her mouth, she demands that Jason assassinate 3 targets. Her boss insists that all the hits must look like accidents, which, after all, is Jason's specialty. The woman goes as far as to threaten Jason, saying that if he doesn't comply, she will immediately leak his location to his enemies, ending his peaceful retirement. She thinks she has Jason right where she wants him, but he unexpectedly pulls out his phone and snaps a photo of her. The distorted face in the photo startles her. She reaches for her gun, but Jason slams the table down on her to pin her. After knocking out the self-satisfied woman, Jason turns to face the thugs rushing toward him. Despite being outnumbered, Jason uses his extensive combat experience and surroundings to strike back. He turns the restaurant's seafood buffet into a literal grilled human buffet. Single-handedly taking on dozens of men, Jason finishes them off. Seeing more enemies swarming the floor on the security monitor, he decides not to linger and leaps off the high platform. The woman and her crew quickly give chase. To get down the mountain, they have to take a cable car. The assassins storm the cabin but can't find Jason. However, the woman hears a noise on the roof. It turns out Jason is hiding up there. She sprays the ceiling with bullets and even aggressively kicks open the cabin door to climb up. But Jason is one step ahead. He boldly leaps from the dangling cabin midair and lands perfectly on a paraglider passing by. He flies away right in front of her eyes. Truly legendary. Jason sneaks back home only to find several strangers lurking on his yacht, seemingly trying to break in. It's obvious to him that they are with the same crew from the other day. Seeing them on his boat, Jason makes a ruthless decision. He presses a button on his phone, activating the yacht's self-destruct system. The luxury vessel, worth over $700,000, is instantly reduced to ashes. Jason heads to a warehouse district at the pier. One of those units is his secret base. He burns his old fake passports, grabs fresh ones along with a stack of cash, and vanishes again. After traveling for several days, he arrives at Koh Lipe, Thailand, a stunning island, where he reunites with his old friend, Sarah. It turns out he had been here years ago, and Sarah has kept a small wooden shack ready for him. As a top-tier assassin who has been in the game for a long time, he has secret hideouts all over the world to help him disappear for long periods at a moment's notice. Once Sarah leaves, Jason pulls a sealed box from beneath the floorboards containing his laptop and necessary gear. Jason uploads the photo he took of the woman to the deep web and finally tracks down her information. But when he sees a photo of her boss, Jason gets a headache. It's someone he's known for a very long time. It looks like he'll need to stay off the grid for quite a while. Yet, it seems no matter where he hides, someone finds him. One day, Jason spots a beautiful stranger on the island. She approaches Sarah asking for some wound medicine. Seeing her covered in bruises, Sarah can't help but feel sympathetic. That night, the sound of a violent argument between a man and a woman echoes from her yacht. Sarah rushes to find Jason, begging him to rescue the beautiful girl. Initially, Jason wants nothing to do with it, but unable to refuse Sarah's desperate plea, he rows his small boat over. Sure enough, the beautiful girl is being pinned down and bullied by a massive man. Seeing Jason board the boat, the man doesn't stop. Instead, he gets more violent with the girl. He grabs a spear gun to challenge Jason, but in a flash, Jason shoves him down. The man's head hits a metal piece, killing him instantly. By this point, the girl has fainted. Jason hands the girl over to Sarah, who has just arrived, while he stays to clean up the mess. Searching the cabin, he finds her passport and phone. However, the phone screen clearly displays a photo of Jason himself. It turns out none of this was a coincidence. It was a setup. Jason drives the yacht out to deep water and sets it ablaze. Angry, he returns home, shoves the passport in front of her, and demands answers from the woman, whose name is Elena. "Why is my photo on your phone?" At first, Elena tries to resist, but realizing she's no match for Jason, she confesses everything. She was threatened by a man named Sterling to lure him into a trap. Once Jason developed feelings for her, Sterling planned to kidnap Elena and use her as leverage to force Jason to work. Realizing he can't hide forever, Jason decides to see what his opponent does next. Jason looks up Elena's background and discovers she's actually a former Special Forces soldier. After retiring, she went to Myanmar to open a charity school for orphans. Sterling kidnapped the children to blackmail Elena. Jason finally realizes she is a victim too. He begins to lower his guard. When he spots a suspicious boat watching them from the shore, he knows Sterling's men are back. He intentionally holds Elena's hand to make them think the plan is working. The two attend a party hosted by Sarah. With Sarah's help, they grow closer and genuine feelings start to develop. Jason knows this was Sterling's honey trap, but he can't resist Elena's sweet smile and falls in love once again. It seems that no matter how cold and iron-willed a man is, he can't resist a woman's tenderness. Deeply in love, Jason tells Elena why Sterling is so obsessed with finding him. They grew up together in a London street gang. Jason successfully escaped, but Sterling didn't, leaving him to endure the gang's wrath and harbor a deep grudge. Just as they are getting intimate, several high-speed boats full of assassins rush toward them. It seems Sterling has decided to act. Jason tells Elena one last thing, that he will find a way to save her. Outnumbered, Elena is taken, and Jason is brought to Bangkok. A seductive, long-haired Thai woman checks him thoroughly and leads him to a chair. The moment he sits down, a remote-controlled bomb under the seat activates. One wrong move, and he'll be blown to pieces. And right then, his childhood friend turned enemy, Sterling, finally reveals himself. Sterling doesn't waste words. He gets straight to the point. He wants Jason to kill 3 people. If he succeeds, Elena goes free. The first target is a brutal arms dealer in Africa who has locked himself inside a prison for protection. The prison is built on a cliffside of an isolated island surrounded by sharks. Sterling demands that Jason break into the prison and eliminate him, making it look like an accident, which is Jason's specialty. Before the mission starts, Jason begins his careful preparation. He gets facial tattoos to pose as a wanted criminal. He buys shark repellent. He disguises C4 explosive as chewing gum. With everything ready, he intentionally gets drunk, starts a fight, and provokes the police. They recognize him as a wanted criminal and arrest him. Though his face doesn't perfectly match the photo, the guards confirm his identity because of the tattoos that a speedboat carries the prisoners to the island. During the search, the guard takes Jason's lighter but returns his other, harmless, items. Jason finally spots the arms dealer, who is under heavy guard. Jason notices a long-haired man nearby looking ready to strike. He also sees a heavy-set man secretly buying a knife. During lunch, Jason intentionally pushes the heavy-set man and pickpockets the knife. That afternoon, the long-haired man finally makes his move. He removes a prosthetic arm, revealing a hidden dagger, and rushes the arms dealer. Jason times it perfectly, throwing the knife into the assassin's heart. The arms dealer is terrified, and his men grab Jason. But when he sees the assassin dead on the floor, he realizes Jason just saved his life. Impressed, he invites Jason to dinner, but Jason acts cool and insists on eating alone. The arms dealer, enjoying Jason's attitude, agrees to a private dinner in his cell. As expected, they are alone. While the target is bragging about his narrow escapes, Jason decides his time is up. Jason strangles him from behind, muffling his cries against the window so the guards aren't alerted. He gags the man, waits for him to pass out, then mixes the target's medicinal powder into some yogurt and forces it down his throat. The man begins to convulse and suffocate, making it look like a seizure. The guards hear a noise and check the room. They see their boss sitting upright at the prayer table, but he's actually been dead for a while. Jason, mission complete, sticks his C4 gum to a courtyard wall. He uses a cigarette to create a spark for the fuse and signals Sterling. As guards rush him, Jason strips down and applies the shark repellent. A massive explosion blows a hole in the wall, and Jason dives into the sea. Thanks to the repellent, he is unfazed by the sharks circling him. A fishing boat nearby pulls in its nets. But strangely, there's no fish, just Jason standing behind the captain. He contacts Sterling and confirms Elena is alive via video call. Sterling then reveals the second target, a mining tycoon in Sydney, Australia, living in a skyscraper over 100 stories high. The penthouse is heavily guarded and features a cantilevered glass-bottom pool. The security doors are 2-meter-thick steel, making a frontal assault impossible. Jason prepares again. He poses as a wealthy buyer, and a real estate agent shows him an apartment midway up the building. While she's on the phone, he clones a key. He maps out his route and creates a special chemical gel. When injected between glass layers, it shatters tempered glass in 15 seconds. Disguised as a maintenance worker, Jason enters the building, uses his key to access the mid-level room, cuts through the glass, and climbs to the bottom of the rooftop pool with his bare hands. Using suction cups, he moves to the center, drills a tiny hole, and pumps in the chemicals. The tycoon swims directly over him and spots Jason just as the glass shatters. Jason slides back into the room below as the suction pulls the tycoon down, sending him plummeting to his death. Mission 2 complete. During a video call, Elena cleverly adjusts the camera so Jason can see a ship ID through the window. Jason hitches a helicopter ride to find the ship. Though it had moved, he eventually spots it. He dives in and sneaks on board, taking out guards. But Sterling expected him and set an ambush. Jason maneuvers skillfully through the boat, dodging bullets. Hearing Elena's screams, he gets reckless. On the helipad, surrounded, he pulls a grenade pin from a guard, uses the man's tactical vest as a shield, and blows up the group. However, he is dazed and gets taken down by a taser to the thigh. Jason is brought before Sterling. Faced with a childhood friend who knows all his tricks, Jason is at a disadvantage. Sterling doesn't kill him yet. He still needs the third hit. As Sterling orders his men to take Jason away, Jason smashes through a window and leaps into the sea. Even as an elite assassin, he maintains his pride. Since the rescue failed, he has to go after the third target. The final target is Maxwell, the biggest arms dealer in North America, living in a fortified museum in Bulgaria. The place is an impenetrable fortress with a submarine base underneath, housing an ICBM-capable sub. This is what Sterling truly wants. The only way in is the rooftop helipad. During prep, Jason realizes the 3 targets are simply Sterling's business rivals. If they die, Sterling will monopolize the global arms trade. Jason comes up with a bold plan. Jason goes to a nearby hospital and snipes a guard on the museum roof, hitting him in the butt. It's non-lethal, but requires immediate medevac. When the hospital helicopter arrives at the museum, Jason is already hidden inside. He sneaks in and intentionally triggers the alarm. Fearing for his life, Maxwell retreats to his panic room. But once he locks the massive steel door, he finds Jason already sitting there waiting. Instead of killing him, Jason proposes a deal. The next day, as Maxwell walks across a hanging walkway at the sub-base, it explodes. Maxwell is blown into the water where Jason is waiting with a scuba mask. They retreat to a deserted island. It was all a setup. Jason faked Maxwell's death to trick Sterling into thinking the job was done. Sterling falls for it and sends his right-hand man and a crew to the base. Jason is already there, having turned the base into a slaughterhouse. As a dozen mercenaries storm in, Jason strikes from the shadows. One mercenary tries to open a door rigged with a mine and is blown into a fireball. With machine guns and grenades, Jason wipes them out. The terrified right-hand man tries to escape in a sub, but Jason drops a grenade into the hatch, blowing him up. Sterling, watching the monitors, is furious. Jason doesn't stop. He pilots a submersible straight towards Sterling's yacht. Sterling knows the final showdown is here, but plays his last card, Elena. He puts her on the deck as bait. Jason boards the yacht with a dagger, fighting ruthlessly and hitting vital points. He smashes the cameras so Sterling can't track him. Sterling, fearing Jason's rage, drags Elena to the bridge and sets a 3-minute self-destruct timer on the boat. Jason fights his way to the bridge. Sterling has fled. Seeing Elena is safe, Jason realizes the bomb is ticking down. There's no time to get her off the boat, so he puts her in the rescue pod and launches it into the sea. Sterling, seeing this, tries to escape on a lifeboat, but Jason catches him. They fight on the suspended lifeboat as it swings wildly. Sterling sprays bullets with a submachine gun and cuts the support ropes so the lifeboat pins Jason down. They engage in a final brawl. Jason eventually overpowers Sterling, who is still fueled by that childhood grudge. With only 1 minute left on the timer, Sterling throws a hook at Jason, but Jason catches it and chains Sterling to the boat. Sterling laughs, thinking Jason will die too, and screams Jason's name as the boat vanishes in a massive explosion. Elena's rescue pod surfaces. She survives, but Jason is gone. Later, Maxwell reviews his security footage and sees a camera pointed at the burnt-out fuel compartment. He discovers that the reinforced, airtight space was just enough for a person to survive. The footage shows Jason emerging alive. Maxwell smiles and deletes the footage. He didn't survive this long in the industry by being a snitch. Elena returns to her school, living the life she wanted but mourning every day. Suddenly, she sees a familiar figure. She smiles, knowing they can finally be together forever. For the mechanic, the most perfect assassination of his life was perhaps killing his career as a hitman to find the warmth of a normal life. That's it for today's story. Thanks for watching. What did you think of the movie?